to other things we like, man. Let's jump into some of the cake. I know you got a couple slices, and I
Yeah,
got a
yeah,
couple
yeah.
things too, man.
This is some of the things off the top. Obviously, the cast, like I said earlier, Mark
Very
Ruffalo,
strong
Tim Robbins,
cast, yeah.
you know, yeah, definitely strong, strong cast. Um, but the raising of awareness, which we talked about, very key. I wasn't aware that it was to this degree. Like we're all this whole term of global warming. No, you call it what it is. It's pollution. All right.
Mm.
Let's not mince words. And I'm not giving any ex vice president credit for discovering this. No, you're not a lab technician at the very least. You damn sure aren't a scientist. Like
I thought Al Gore was credited with discovering the internet.
him and what's the man's name? Him and uh, what's the guy? Terrence Howard. They discovered everything on this planet.
Oh man,
There was nothing
Terrence,
before them. So,
Terrence
but
is
nonetheless, I
mm,
digress. The faith part, that component, the belief in oneself, in the
mhm.
family, as well as in a higher power. So there's a pecking order. There is a belief system in which it's demonstrative throughout everything that he does. He's very consistent, very deliberate in how he goes about his business. I think that's a key point in, especially in this day and age where you need these type of icons, role models, whatever you want to term it, these figures that provide an example of, hey, this is how we go about things. Too often we see how not to go about things by actually seeing the person be the mess up. Well, here we have an individual of saying, look, I'm on the path. I'm not telling you to do it, but hey, maybe you might want to come around or come along for the journey. Um, and I also think that the duty and commitment that he displays, not just him actually doing the work and it's tedious and it's boring and it's not glamorous, but I mean the fact that he even bothers in that scene where they're in the conference room, and I hate the fact that it's the one black guy there, like, hey, we do business with them, and
Yeah,
why are you like,
yeah,
he's the lone dissenting voice and he's going hard, and I'm just
yeah,
like, if this
yeah,
is not another stereotype to
yeah.
further the myth.
Yeah, that almost made my hate category, man. But we talking about the cake though.
But the fact that that counterbalance where he was like, look, this is how we need to go about doing things. We have a responsibility to not only ourselves, but to our children and to the townsfolk. They have put their trust in us,
Hmm.
like, and I think that goes overlooked sometimes. This movie is about trust. The townsfolk trusted the DuPonts to do right by them. The town has it talks about the political social ramifications about how, look, there's these ultra PACs and these super PACs and these mega PACs. Everybody's got a pack of cigarettes, whatever. And then, they have these lobbyists, and they're the only ones who have access. And it wasn't like that. Literally, 1863, 1865, you could go up to the president and tell him exactly how you felt. Hey, not messing with this. Well, certain select, but nonetheless, certain people could have access to Joe Schmo could have access to him. You could see him walking the streets in DC. And I think that part is emphasized throughout this entire movie. And I think that definitely is like my major like about this, the major slice of cake that I'm messing with. What you got?
Got it. So there's a couple scenes that jumped out to me that I
Yeah.
really liked in this. The first is like that cow scene, the rabid cow scene,
Yeah.
because that I think is also the scene where Robert is there with the farmer, and it's like it becomes like the danger that the cow presents because it's suffering. I think it makes it like really real for Robert's character because at that point he's still kind of like, look, I can win this for you individually. I can get you money so you can leave the
Yeah.
land. And then when he sees that, he starts to see like the scope and scale of the problem being much bigger than just moving one family away from there. So that was the first one. You talked about the partner scene, the partner meeting scene. So that was another one that was really,
Yeah.
that really stood out for me. And then I love the hospital scene. I don't think that sorry, when Anne Hathaway and I think it's the main head lawyer, I guess,
Tim Robbins.
Tim Robbins, yeah, when they're talking, and you alluded to it a little bit earlier when she talks about, like, Robert's upbringing, how
Yeah.
all he really has is his family and that job, and it means so much more to him than the job. I just thought that that was like they gave something to Anne Hathaway to really kind of show her acting chops,
Yep.
and I thought she just delivered the scene so well, and the even the way that the scene is shot, Tim Robbins is taller than her,
Yes.
so at first it kind of seems like he's in charge of the conversation, almost like it's moving this way. But then as she's talking, it levels, and it like all of a sudden she becomes the dominant person in the conversation. And I just thought it was just executed very well. So that was one of the scenes that I really liked. And then last, the deposition scene I'm talking about when he's doing the deposition with the real CEO
Yeah,
of
yeah,
DuPont,
yeah.
and he's like going through and he makes him read the statements and like read the things that are highlighted. You know, it's just a really good scene. I think as a viewer, it gives you the sense of, okay, somebody's being held accountable. So I
Yeah.
like that. And then I don't know who the actor is, but the guy who's playing the CEO, he does this great job of like kind of in the beginning, almost sitting there as if like, I'm only here so I don't get sued kind of vibe. And then his humanity gets kind of pricked when he has to read the things that were in the reports. And I thought the actor did a really good job, like with his eyes and his body language, like getting more and more deflated as the deposition goes on. So those were my cake scenes.
The actor's name is Barry Mulholland, and he was playing Charles O'Holliday Jr., the CEO of DuPont.
Yep.
That's the joint that was and minor correction. I think I said Tim Roth. It's actually Tim Robbins.
Tim Robbins, yeah.
Yeah, it's not Tim Roth. He's not in this movie, but good actor though. I think the thing that I just want to piggyback on a few things that you brought out that were really dope. Um, One, Anne Hathaway, like you mentioned earlier, she doesn't have many lines, but when she does, they're very impactful,
Yeah.
insightful, very intelligent. And I think she does her character a good service, a good representation as far as the importance of a solid family unit, of a
Oh,
partnership
absolutely.
between a husband and wife, especially with one whose career requires long hours.
Yeah.
Sometimes, especially in this day and age, you'll hear things about infidelity and this, that, and the third, but no, they have a very strong faith-based relationship where they have a lot of commonalities and a lot of
Hmm.
things that they cherish together that are of importance. That's key. Another thing that you mentioned with regards to just the overall feel of the movie, um, kind of like capsulized with the shooting of the cow, the ramifications. One, he mentions it. People eat beef. These cows also provide milk. So
Yeah.
you're drinking whatever toxins are within that cow. Cows are going mad. God forbid, you have a child and all of a sudden, rabid cow goes on you, because some of these farms, they're also petting zoos and things of that ilk where,
Yeah.
that they're coming around the public. Now you have this mass pandemonium. Like, I remember distinctly where you'd hear about swine flu, bird flu, and all these other
Mad cow
contagion.
disease.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
and
mad cow
that's
disease.
and
I
that's
remember
where I
that.
was going. So now you have this epidemic going on where people are afraid, fearful to go to the supermarket, and the ramifications are, stocks plummeting, mass hysteria, people rioting, all because of negligence on the part of a corporation who didn't want to dispose of toxic waste in a very civilized and responsible manner. Or how about, don't even create that product using these means, use something else. I think another thing that you touched on, last but not least, is you know there's that deposition scene, and this is where actors are flexing their chops, where it's not necessarily the uh, actor's job to make good writing even better. It's the actor's job to make poor writing good, or at least ultimate, to its utmost abilities. And you have these gentlemen there, like you mentioned. It's not just delivering of the words, the cadence. It's also the facial
Yeah.
expressions, the
Mhm.
the body language that they're displaying, the ins and outs, the back and forth, the volley, if you will. I think they did an excellent job in those scenes where they're in very close, intimate quarters and they're
Yep.
discussing things that may be difficult. But you never see Mark Ruffalo lose his patience. You never see him outside his demeanor, outside himself.
Yeah.
He's able to hit these benchmarks like with ease.
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt, man. So there's